All right, let's start with your name. Where'd your name come from?
My name actually came from, actually, it's a nickname that I got in the streets. And when I first started rapping, I actually didn't know what my rap name was gonna be. And I was working with a producer at the time, and we was at my crib because I had built like a studio in the crib. And so at that point, I was still 1 foot in, 1 foot out, you know, fucking around. And so one of the guys, you know what I'm saying, that I was dealing with in the street, he kept saying my name, Tony Cartel, Tony Cartel. And my producer just turned around like, that's it. That's your name. And, you know, it just stuck, so.
Now, where are you from?
From Chicago, like South Side, you know.
Now, what's your opinion of the state of rap music right now in Chicago?
I want to say that it's done some good for the city because you got people that's trying to do more than what they was just doing before, like in the streets, shit. But it also make it kind of like, Chicago to me one of the realest places, so it make it kind of fugazi a little bit because you got people fronting like they was doing shit that they wasn't doing. And, you know, I think that's new to Chicago because we always, even the people that bust out the city like Kanye or whatever, they was coming a different route. Now our street shit really coming to light, and so you got people that's like trying to perpetrate something they not. But, you know, it come with the territory, I think. I think it's in a good place. A lot of creative people in Chicago.
Now, in your opinion, when we talking real and fake, when we talking portrayals, in the rap scene in Chicago, if you could put a percentage on who's really portraying the real life that they say they are and who's portraying something else, what would you say is real and fake amongst the rappers right now, if you could put a percentage?
I think percentage-wise, shit, it's damn near 50-50. You know? You got some people that's really showing you where they come from and showing you the different obstacles that they overcame. And then you got people that's, you know, they just got money behind them, you know, so they're trying to make a dollar out the business. Or you got people that's just trendy. And like, rap is almost a trendy thing to do now, it seems like. So, you know, just because I stick to myself, but I'm able to like peep game a lot, I have to throw it in at the 50% area.
Now give me a tour of the city of Chicago for someone that's never been to Chi-Town before. Let's start with the food. Favorite food spot in the city?
Man, I gotta answer this in 2 parts, because you got the hood spots and then you got the more fine dining. And me, let's see, if I first want to take you to the hood, Uncle Remus. That's a west side spot. The chicken with the sauce, shit's crazy, amazing. Black owned, you know. And but they just opened up one on like, what the fuck, like 47th and Cottage. So I go there, I take people there, and let me see, man. Heralds used to be the shit, but there's too many bogus ones now. Fine dining, man. My favorite spot is Gibson's. That's a legendary spot in Chicago. Like Michael Jordan them used to go there and all that shit when the Bulls was big. And the service is just crazy. The food great, service great. You know.
What do you order there?
Man, I get the filet, filet mignon, medium well. It's crazy.
Now on the Heralds Chicken, when you said it's bogus, there's too many bogus ones. Can you?
They over-franchise, man. It's like, you know how something start off small and good? Too many people, man. You got all type of motherfuckers frying chicken that don't know nothing about it, you know what I'm saying? And then the sauce is off, so they needed to keep that, you know what I'm saying? They need to keep that brand with that sauce. you know, they kind of lost that, man. So I'm
Now,
fucking with it too much.
What about the nightlife?
Mm-hmm.
Favorite strip club in the city?
I'm gonna put it to you. Look, I'm not gonna act like you come to Chicago like you're not coming there for the strip club, because half of them, man, you gonna see a bunch of cigarette burns and bullet holes and shit, man. So you know, but I try to pick the spots that I know that's gonna be cracking, like Red Diamond. That's like South Burbs. You know, it's really busting out there now, so I fuck with that. And I used to fuck with the Factory a little bit, but they got, you know, so you trying to drive the foreign over there to the parking lot, and they got potholes and shit. I couldn't fuck with it no more. So Red Diamond, that shit, and the rest, man, you know, I already told you.
Now, what about regular nightclubs? Do you have a favorite regular nightclub in the city?
Man, I used to, but I don't really do too much clubbing in Chicago that much, because it's like, shit always popping off at the end, motherfuckers getting drunk, and next thing you know, shit go crazy. But, you know, it's a couple spots you can go, like, well, I fuck with the Shrine, because they always have a lot of, like, live music, like, performances, like, and so, me, like, I'm kind of into that, like, seeing live music, not just, like, on no rap shit either, but, so, yeah.
All right, now we talked about the food a little bit. We talked about the nightlife. First time someone visiting Chicago, anything else you recommend they see or visit while they're in town?
Shit. Right now, like, Chicago get like a, you know, like a bad rep. So I just encourage people to, like, go to the parts that's not like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not the whole city. Like, you can go to the beach. You got a great lakefront. You can go to the beach right by downtown, you know, hit the Gold Coast areas, great shopping. And, you know, if you into sports, like, it's cool to go by the Bulls Stadium, you know, on some tourist shit, you know, Wrigley Field. And, you know, that's some shit I would suggest. Like, just don't, like, but get out, though. Don't be scared in your hotel room, like, some shit gonna happen. It ain't like that. Like, Chicago really, like, if you fuck with somebody, then they gonna do something to you. But if you minding your business, like, you know, ain't nobody gonna fuck with you. So I just say get out, see the whole city.
Now, what about the lingo? What are some terms or some phrases one might hear in Chicago right about now?
Man, that shit be changing so often. But I don't know. I don't think that Chicago get enough credit for the lingo that we really be, like, starting trends and shit. But right now, like, I don't know, like, motherfucker, if they walk in the spot and there's people in there, but it's not like everything that it's hyped up to be, motherfuckers be like, man, it's fake busing in there. So it's like, it's busing, but it's fake busing. Like, that's some shit. Or like, fool, you know, like, man, you fool as hell, you fool gays, you know, we shorten everything. Or like, niggas, man, well, like, I'm guilty of this shit too. Like, if you trying to transition into the other part of your story, you be like, whole time, you know, like, if I say, man, I was hollering at Shorty and she was like, trying to act like she wasn't fucking with me, but the whole time, the bitch was thirsty, you know what I'm saying, want my number. So that's just a few things that, you know what I'm saying, like, just an everyday conversation, you know, like, man, I be talking to some of my guys from New York or in the South, they be like, man, what the fuck is you talking about? But, like, that I gotta break it down, but yeah, you know, a few terms like that.
Now, what about events? Are there any events you recommend someone to go visit Chicago for? Like, for instance, in New Orleans, Mardi Gras is
Right.
like a week-long situation.
Chicago always got a lot of festivals, like music festivals, so you can really get a taste of the city. Like, they got the Blues Festival, they got, like, Lollapalooza, they got, you know, and then around that time is other small festivals, so it's a great place to hear a lot of live music. Taste of Chicago, you can basically get a little sample of everything that's in Chicago. A couple things right there that I think only come in the summertime, man. Don't bring your ass to Chicago. It's 2 degrees outside, man. You ain't gonna want to come back. So, yeah.
Now, at those festivals, is it worth, like, an urban artist to promote at those type of festivals? Or are those festivals so, you know, different genres that perform at those festivals, is it not worth it? Like, would you, if someone is, you know, pushing a single or promoting an album, would you recommend they promote at Lollapalooza on the streets, or nah, it's not really worth it?
Or
Taste of Chicago, or, you know?
You can, it's just, well, it's gonna be so many people, you know, you know, like the numbers are in your favor. So I would say that if it's the time to push, yeah, then you could push around that time, you know, kind of put it out there. But just as an indie artist, like I just noticed like that in the fourth quarter, first quarter is a really time to push nowadays. So, you know, but if you got something going crazy locally, like on the radio, man, people be so fucked up, man. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll turn up with you, you had your cameraman, it look like you know what I'm saying? You at Lollapalooza. So push if you can, yeah, definitely. But, you know, that's more on some like guerrilla marketing shit. Yeah, you can do that.
Now let's take it back a little bit. What type of student were you in school?
Student? I was a good student, man. I really did a lot more listening than talking, so teachers always fuck with me on that. I think all boys coming up, they go through their phase though where they like a rebel and shit, so I had that little phase, but you know, school was easy to me. Like, I always been good with numbers, you know. I like to read personally, like I ain't a big TV person, so math and read, man, you do this shit, everything else easy, you know.
Jobs you had growing up, if any?
Man, my first job I had was, I was a little shorty, man. I've been a hustler. I had a paper route, but I got fired like too quick because I tried to dump all the papers in the dumpster and just tell my boss like, yeah, I deliver them. So he fired me off that. But after that, let's see, when I got like a teenager, I was working with my man's father. He was delivering Lazy Boys. That shit was backbreaking, man. That's when I knew hard labor wasn't really for me. I'm like, nah. But I got to meet some cool people like Brian Urlacher, you know, some sports players. I'm like, okay. But yeah.
Any crazy customer stories dealing with any of those jobs you mentioned?
Yeah, well, yeah, because, you know, people, they, you know what I'm saying, they think you a slave. Like, they trying to get you to take the other couch. And I'm like, look, man, and my boss was too nice. I'm like, look, man, I'm not trying to do all that. You know, they got cats and shit. This one lady had 100 cats. I'm like, man, me, I'm allergic to cats. So I'm like, look, you know what I'm saying, get me in and out. And, yeah, I mean, and do you have rich motherfuckers that ain't tip you? I'm like, matter of fact, Earl, like, he ain't tip me. Yeah, rich, man, motherfucker. So, yeah, man, them just the crazy stories, you know, just no tip, cat ladies and shit like that. But
I mean, is it customary to tip at a job like that?
Yeah, especially if you getting, me, I believe in tipping, you know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, if the service is there, you know. A lot of waitresses and stuff like that, they're not making that much hourly and stuff. And, you know, I don't know if he was shysting me, but I wasn't eating. I'm like, look, I need some tips, man. So I was trying to bust my ass a little bit, but somebody gig.
Now, what's the worst thing you put your parents through?
Man, growing up, I ain't really like stay with my parents, you know what I'm saying? I was kind of like in the system and like granny crib and stuff like that. So I just think being separated from my mom at an early age, I think that hurt her. But other than that, you know, I don't think I put them through too much because we wasn't able to really like build that type of bond. You know, they just happy that I'm doing something with myself, but you know. So, but, well, me and my pops, we built up a little bit of, you know, chemistry. So I think a couple times having run-ins with the law, you know, family members are always worried about you, so just shit like that.
What's your message to the youth?
Man, my message to the youth is use your voice if you have one, you know. Like, if you the leader of your friends, like, use that power to, you know what I'm saying, get them to do things that, like, okay, let me put it to you like this, like, a lot of the violence in Chicago is, like, with the youth from 16 to, like, 20, but in that same ratio, 94% of them are unemployed. So there's no jobs for these young kids. So that's why they out doing whatever they gotta do on the hustling tip. So for me, my advice is, if you coming up in that, I can't tell you what you should and shouldn't do to make ends meet for you and your family, but what you do with that, make sure you still keep a dream and chase your dream, you know. I think having passion behind a dream is bigger than anything, education, anything like that, because as long as you got that motor going, you can get it done. But so many of them, man, they can't even afford to dream. So that's my thing, just tell them, man, dream and drive for that shit, you know. I don't care what the goal is, but just get there, you know. Don't just get caught up in the streets, man, day-to-day life, and, you know what I'm saying, you look up, you in and out of jail and shit, your whole life done passed you by, you know. So be a leader, not a follower, man. Be following these goofy motherfuckers around here telling you what to do in these streets, and they not even doing it, you know.
Now, why, when you talk about 16 to 20, you said 90% don't have jobs, and that might be the reason. Did you say that's the reason, or that might be?
I say that's the leading, like one of the leading reasons.
Okay, one of the leading reasons. All right, so New York has a heavy population, LA has a heavy population, Atlanta has a heavy population, as does Chicago.
Right.
There's millions of people living in Chicago.
Right.
But why is this same problem not happening in something like New York City? Because I'm just imagining that there's just as many 16 to 20-year-olds, if not more, in these cities that I just mentioned. Right. But you don't hear the crime rate and the killings and the shootings as much. Like, you would think, in theory, New York City would be going crazier than Chicago. I'm just saying in theory, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
So what's the difference?
I think the difference is in the segregation of the city. Chicago is so segregated, man. And me, I've traveled outside of the state to LA, New York, and I got friends there. And in Chicago, most of my friends coming up were of the same race, just black. I go in the hood in New York, some of my best guys, Spanish cats. Same thing in LA. And they, you know, and they mingle, and so even though you were in the hood, I feel like they're slightly more cultured. And in Chicago, it's so segregated. People don't even leave the south side or the west side to actually see how the other side is living. And I also believe that there's no trust in the system, like, of the judge, the police, the prosecutor, so it's a lot of street justice. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's the biggest difference, is just that mentality of, like, street justice and what it should be. And shit, motherfuckers shoot first and ask questions later, you know? And it's fucked up, you know what I mean?
Now, can this be fixed?
Man.
Or is it too late? Is this going to be like this from here on out for the next decade, 2 decades, 3 decades? What's it going to be to fix this?
I don't believe anything is impossible, because, I mean, like, we see people in communities change all across the world. I think it has to be some real energy, positive energy put into the problem, not just into the city of Chicago. It's like, Chicago, even if they get some money to help some shit, it's always crooked politicians and shit that's putting it in their own pocket. I mean, and we can go back to the 30s, 20s with Al Capone and them. Like, it's more than just the youth, it's the system there. And, you know, so I think it really got to be like a cleaning of the house. Just, you know, it got to start from the top down. But government crazy, because they not going to clean out themselves. So Just to simply answer your question, I think it's gonna take a lot and take a while for shit to change. You know, on a mass level.
On a small scale, how can it change?
Man.
Is it something simple that could...
I think that on a small level, if each individual, like these young men that I was speaking about, if they change their mentality of how they gonna handle themselves in the hood, then you can eventually change the hood. You know what I'm saying? That's what I talk about in sophisticated trap. You know what I'm saying? That's my brand, that's my style. It's like trapping at its highest form. You know what I'm saying? Like, instead of, like, if you got a block and y'all fighting over a block, you spending more money on guns, ammunition, lawyers, and bonding out when y'all could come up with a deal, sit at the table like bosses and chop it up while everybody can eat and be alive instead of paying for funerals and shit. So that's how I'm trying to change them. Like, I can't change the hood, but I could change how you operating in the hood. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me. So that's how I approach the shit. Like, man, you see me, you see how I move throughout the city, throughout each hood for years. Had no problems with nobody, made my money, got out the way, fed my guys, had loyalty and all that shit. Like, if you simply operate on certain morals, then you can govern yourself. You can govern the hood and shit can change. But, you know, that's why I'm trying to touch those guys that are running the blocks. You know what I'm saying? The bosses of each block, the bosses of each little clique. Like, man, run your guys the right way. You know what I'm saying? That's what's missing really in the streets is the leaders. They locked up all the gang leaders or killed them off. You know what I'm saying? So now it's guys like me, artists, they got a voice. You have to show them how to be leaders. This shit is a, you know what I'm saying? It's like a guide. Like, my raps and shit is like a guide to, like, how to really maneuver in these streets. So, you know what I'm saying? That's a responsibility that I feel like myself and other artists that come from the city, that's what we got to do for the city. And that's on a small level because it's not political, you know, but it can work.
Let's talk music a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you hate the most about the music industry?
Man. I would say that I hate it, but I was kind of already expecting this. It's just so much fake shit, I guess. But I'm not talking about necessarily, yo, he got on fake jewelry and shit like that, because you see that anyway. But just like fake relationships, you know. It's like people only around for certain periods of time to try to take advantage of you. So you really like swimming with sharks, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like the streets, you know what I'm saying, to a certain degree. So it come with the territory, but man, you know, that's it. I mean, I'm not a real like industry guy really anyway, you know what I'm saying? I'm more like independent thinking, so, you know, I'm able to stay away from that shit a little bit.
Top 3 things you need in the studio.
In the studio, I would have to say, first of all, you need a dope-ass engineer. I don't think they get enough credit because it's like, they are artists too. I need my water, man. I'm like addicted to sparkling water, like Pellegrino. I need like 2 cases of that. Before the studio, I need some champagne, some shit like that, you know. But let's see, so that's 2 things in the studio. And then, of course, you need dope ass beats. And if I could throw another one in there, just positive vibes, man. Studio about having great vibes, so. And get you a female in there too, cause they gonna tell you the truth. Like if the females fucking with it, yo, you got something. Your man's not gonna gas you sometimes, but the females, they gonna be like, nah, you know, man. Or some of them just moving, man. Once you see a female move, you already know that's a contender. So.
Now, what makes a good engineer versus a bad engineer?
I think an engineer who, some of them, man, they scared to speak to a rapper. Like, they think it's like, you know, on some gangster shit and shit like that. But it's like, really, at that moment, you guys are working together. So just somebody that's gonna tell you their honest opinion as far as the sound and what they think that they should. Well, first of all, telling you what their capabilities are. Like, some people act like they can mix the shit out your shit properly, and they don't really have the skill set. So just the honest engineer and somebody that's creative, you know what I'm saying? Somebody that's trying to stretch the, you know what I'm saying, stretch the limits, think outside the box, because that's gonna bring the best out of you, you know what I'm saying? Testing the boundaries, so.
Craziest studio story, if you have one.
The studio. See, early coming up, man, the studio was in my crib, so we had all type of shit, man. We had motherfucker try to run in the studio, try to rob the studio. So he come in the studio, and he basically trying to direct motherfuckers now. Everybody in there strapped, but of course we not trying to, like, you know what I'm saying, get shot. So we trying to see like how we gonna handle the situation. So we noticed this motherfucker ain't had no bullets in the gun. So we, man, we beat the dog shit out of his ass, man. So that was a crazy story. And one time I was in the studio in New York, and you know what I'm saying, I had some of the guys in there, and, man, one of the guys, he wasn't even a rapper, you know, just the entourage type of nigga. And so he get the fucking one of the shorties in the bathroom, and her baby daddy was coming up there, and they got the boxing and shit like that. So just crazy shit, man. That's why I try to record solo now, man, because I be trying to focus, man.
Who won?
Actually, the craziest shit happened. Shorty started jumping the dude she was just fucking with her baby daddy. Never seen no shit like that. I'm like, you supposed to be smacking that, smacking her up too. But she get the jumping in, you know, she was trying to save her own ass whooping back at the crib, so she get the jumping in helping. So, you know, I ain't fuck with it because I ain't no dude, and we laughing, you know what I'm saying? We trying to world star and all that shit, you know what I'm saying? So this shit was crazy, man. Titty out, boxing, this shit was wild, man. So, yeah, record by yourself, man, for real.
What's the realest song you ever wrote so far in your whole catalog of music?
Every song that I write, I try to always start from an authentic, real place. But I'm not gonna be like giving that answer to you, all my shit real. I mean, the realest track to me is Less is More, because I was just going through a lot of shit at the time, and as soon as I heard the beat, I knew what direction I wanted to go in, but I didn't write it, because I just knew I had all that built up energy, stress, drama, just inside. So when I went in the studio, it just flowed out, and that was really the shortest time span for me to record a song, because it was just that real. And yeah, you know, it's one of my biggest tracks, you know, because people say they can feel the passion in the music. So yeah, Less is More.
Now, when it comes to taking risks,
Yeah.
what's the biggest risk you took for your music career, if any, at this point?
The biggest risk, I think, was really making it the first priority. You know, a lot of artists, people in general, when they have a dream, they don't put both feet forward and go. So me, I got tested early, like, you know, I was used to living a certain lifestyle, like, that the streets was able to provide for me. So as I started to cut back on that and focus more on the music, it's like I got a test, like, everything that could go wrong. Money was going wrong. You know, relationships was going wrong. I lost friends in this shit, you know what I'm saying? Women that used to you being a certain way, and now you on some other shit, they don't want to fuck with you. So I think at some point you really feel like you in this shit solo, you know what I'm saying? You in this shit by yourself. So just really taking myself away from all the shit that could end my career with the wrong move was the biggest risk, because that's all I knew. And you know what I'm saying? So.
Now, has the reward been worth it yet?
I think it's worth it because, for one, man, being in the lifestyle I come from, the odds are against you, you know what I'm saying? I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now on this white couch if I was still doing what the fuck I was doing. So just off that alone, and just being able to create something, be an artist, to come from the streets and then say I'm an artist, that's powerful, you know what I'm saying? Michelangelo was an artist, you know what I'm saying? Some of the most famous people in history were artists, you know? To say I make music, like Beethoven made music, you know what I'm saying? Legends that I looked up to, you know, made music. So to be able to actually do that is just a blessing, you know what I'm saying? It's a reward every time I'm able to create.
What are your keys to success?
My keys to success is just listening to my first thought, you know. Don't second guess myself. Don't take that much advice, you know. And really just staying positive, you know what I'm saying? Like, I see where I'm going before I even get there. And so just feeling like I already have obtained it just makes me even hungrier to go get more. So I see shit before I even get it, you know what I'm saying? I visualize it. So every day I just try to stay in tune and stay within myself, stay in my lane, and just, you know, pursue that as hard as hell. Like, I don't bite a campaign or, you know what I'm saying, try to be some shit I'm not. And, you know, because when you yourself, you're going to stay comfortable, you know what I'm saying? And like, when you comfortable with yourself, then you can do something consistent. When you fake, you can't be that person all the time, you know? So it's my keys right there.
So what you got going on right now?
Right now, man, what I got going on is this Cosa Nostra tape, man. You know, dropping February 29th. You know, a lot of people have been pressing me for the date, so there it is right there. This is my first time announcing the date, man, February 29th. I'm dropping that. It's going to be everywhere. You're going to be able to live mixtapes, SoundCloud, all that shit, man, you know. Just going to bless the streets with that. But, you know, prior to that release, I'm still dropping music, you know. I dropped Less Is More a couple months back. Madden just recently, which is produced by 808 Mafia. Got a lot of shit on the tape with them. A couple other dope producers, man. DJ L and Dirty Vans and shit like that. So, yeah, man, we pushing that tape, man, going strong, just performing everywhere. New York, Atlanta, LA, Chicago, just touching different markets. Just shot a video today, man. It was crazy. Shout out High Def, man. He definitely made a movie, you know what I'm saying? So just be in tune with me, just on the visuals dropping, man. I got stuff up. If you want to check me out, YouTube, World Star, I'm all over there, you know what I'm saying? On the Instagram and the Twitter, Tony_Cartel, you know what I'm saying? Fuck with me, man.